Hello friends, I'm Lisa and I'm back with another video. Today it's time finally for me to try and rank the Discworld books. I've read all of the Discworld books and finished the last one in January, and I have been wanting to do a ranking. People have asked me to do it if I wanted to do it, and I definitely want to, but it's really difficult. So before we get into the list, this is my personal favorites ranking order. If you like a book better than in somewhere else, then that's fair. I don't think any of the Terry Pratchett books are bad. It's just there's some that jives more with me than others. I've collected them into 5 piles, like kind of like when I did the tier ranking one. I have okay tier, good tier, great tier, demigod, and god tier. And I've sort of divided them into those piles, but I've also ranked the individual piles, so it is in a ranking order, all of them. So yes, let's get moving. I have a cat right beside me. I'm afraid she's going to move and she's going to push over some of the stacks, but let's start with the okay tier. And but yeah, coming in as number 41 and my least favorite Discworld book is Eric or Faust. I don't know who calls it Faust, but this is a Rincewind book and it's so short. It is like 150 pages, and so it never really builds up the story completely. There are some scenes in here that I think are really great, but overall it's just not my favorite, and Rincewind is just not my favorite character. So yeah, it is my least favorite, and it is the 41st on this list. Coming in as number 40 is going to be The Last Hero by Terry Pratchett. This is a sort of graphic work. It is very pretty art, but it's really, I found it very difficult to read it because it was so glossy, so I could hardly read it, and it took forever to read through it. And the story itself just wasn't one I really enjoyed as much, and it is another Rincewind, and yeah, he's just not my favorite. I've said it a couple of times before. I end up giving this one a 3 out of 5 stars as well. My coming at 39 on the list is Moving Pictures, and this is the 10th book in the Discworld universe, and it is the first book that is the Industrial Revolution books. Yeah, but this is sort of as if Hollywood in Discworld, like they took a sort of spin on that, and it is interesting. It's just not my favorite. Now we're getting into the okay tier, and coming as 38 is The Call of Magic by Terry Pratchett. This is the first ever Discworld book, and yeah, it follows Rincewind and Luggage, and I think 2 flowers in it as well. Otherwise he's in the second one at least. It's been a long time since I read it. I read it I think in 2015 or 14. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars, so for me it wasn't a problem starting with this one, but it's definitely not my favorite. And I did consider if I wanted to continue with the series, but I was intrigued enough to know more about the world, so I'm happy I did. Coming in as number 37 is Sorcery by Terry Pratchett, another Rincewind book. You can tell Rincewind is just not my favorite sub-series. They seem to be down here in the bottom, all of them. But this one was okay. It's just not my favorite. I gave it 4 stars, so a little better than Call of Magic. Coming at 36 is The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents. This is sort of a standalone in this world, but it's also like, I guess, the beginning of the young adult books. Tiffany Aching is not my favorite. It's better than but it's good enough. It's like a decent story. It's just not my favorite, and it's here. The next one is The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. I enjoyed this one more than Call of Magic. I think you definitely have to read Call of Magic and The Light Fantastic right after each other, because this is a direct spin-off. Otherwise, all of the others, majority of the others, you can read without having read any of the other books beforehand. Except I think there's Lords and Ladies. I think Lords and Ladies is a spin-off, like a direct sequel to Witches Abroad, but I'm a little uncertain about this. I have a cat who's all over the place. But yeah, Light Fantastic. Coming in as 34 is The Last Continent. This is another Rincewind, but it was entertaining enough. It's just not my favorite. Small Gods comes in at number 33. This is one of the standalones in the Discworld, as well as Amazing Maurice, and this one follows like a turtle an omen. Small gods, it follows, like it's talking a lot about belief and how the more you believe in a god, the bigger the god they are. And this is a really small turtle, so he's trying to get more people to believe in him so that he can actually become better and all of that. And there's also some other things going on in here, obviously, but I enjoyed it. Not my favorite. Now we're getting into the great tier. So they're 4 stars still, but better than the other 4 stars I've read. Coming in at 32 is Interesting Times by Terry Pratchett. This is another Rincewind book. It's one of my favorite of the Rincewind books. This one is sort of reintroduces Twoflower, who is a really fun character, and it also is sort of there is this thing. It's as if it's China, but I don't want to say that because I don't want to be offensive or anything. But it's said there's this world that's surrounded by this wall, and people are not allowed to go outside of this wall, kind of thing. And Twoflower is from this place, and he managed to escape and come back and write a book. And he's sort of in prison because of this. That he comes back and tells the people because was not allowed to do that. And people are supposed to think that everything outside of this wall is bad. So, but it's a lot of fun. Rincewind somehow also get into the same jail, and that's sort of how they reconnect. Next up we have Jingo by Terry Pratchett. This is another City Watch book, but it's probably my least favorite City Watch book, but it is good enough. It's just there was something in here that seemed off from Terry Pratchett overall, but I still enjoyed it because I enjoyed the characters a lot, so it comes in here. Coming in as number 30 is The Fifth Elephant by Terry Pratchett. This is, I think, a City Watch book as well. I believe it's, yeah, Sam Vimes says. So this is a City Watch book. Coming in as number 29 is Pyramids by Terry Pratchett. This is another of the standalones, and it's sort of, I would say, set in Egypt kind of thing in Discworld. It's been so long since I read it. I really thought it was fun when I did. So I definitely need to reread this relatively soon. I'm intending on trying to reread some of them at least. There are some of these books that I've already forgotten because it's been so long since I read them. Some others, they just stuck with me because they're like favorites, but this one, I remember enjoying it a lot when I was reading it, so I definitely is due for a reread soon. Coming in number 28 is The Truth, which is another Industrial Revolution book. This is the first time a newspaper, like a new journalist type thing comes into the city, and yeah, we have some characters from the City Watch jumping in here as well. I believe Sam Vimes makes a present, but it was a lot of fun and definitely highly recommended. Coming in at number 27 is Soul Music by Terry Pratchett. This is my least favorite death book. It comes in here. I still enjoyed it. It is like talking about rock and roll live music and how there has to be music in it. Like there's a rock and roll band happening, and we have like Susan, who is this Death's granddaughter, becomes more and more of a presence in the series, and I really enjoy that. But it's not my favorite. Coming in as number 26 is Weird Sisters. This is the second Witches book, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. This is the one that's a play on Shakespeare, right? Anyway, it introduces finally Margaret and Nanny Ogg to the Witches series. They weren't in it in the first one in equal rights. That was only Granny. But I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. A good introduction to the witches. Coming in as number 25 is Snuff by Terry Pratchett. This is another City Watch book. Yeah, he's on a holiday kind of thing, but then suddenly he has a case running and he can't really seem to be on that holiday. I think he just got married in this one. But highly enjoyed it. A lot of fun. Coming in as 24 is Feet of Clay by Terry Pratchett, another Discworld book. This one, another City Watch book. I don't know why I say Discworld, but they all sit in the Discworld. So this is, I don't know what number in the series, but I think it's like 15 or 16, 17, maybe it's 19. I think 20 is Hogfather. So I think it's 19 in the Discworld overall. Next up we have The We Free Men. This is the first Tiffany Aching book. Really enjoyed this one. I didn't know what to expect of Tiffany Aching because it's a young adult in the Discworld, but he did it really, really well. I think it had also some lovable characters from the other series, like Granny Weatherwax. Obviously Death makes a presence. He's in all of them, but there are definitely a lot of interesting characters that helped build this along, but this was so much fun. 4.5 stars. We're getting into the demigod tier right now, I think. Now we have Wintersmith, also by Terry Pratchett. This is another Tiffany Aching book. I think it's the third in the Tiffany Aching series, and this was a lot of fun. It was such a winter, yeah, it says on the cover, wintry book, and again, a lot of fun things happens. Coming in as number 21, The Unseen Academicals by Terry Pratchett. This is the last Rincewind book, but Rincewind is in it so little that it's ridiculous it's called a Rincewind book. Like, I think he's mentioned a couple of times, but he's not really a character in here. This is set around a football team and it's so much fun. Coming in at number 20 is Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett. This is the third Witches book, and this is one where they are obviously going on a trip. And I really enjoyed this one. It had a lot of funny things, and like, it just, Granny and Nanny York, they just have the best. Also, actually, Magrat, like, they all have the best comments in here. It's so much fun. Coming in as number 19 is I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. This is another Tiffany Aching book. I enjoyed the Tiffany Aching book quite a lot, so they're actually all really in the top tier end of things, so very much enjoyable. Coming in as number 18 is Thief of Time by Terry Pratchett. This is another death book, and it is this last one in his series, and I enjoyed my time with it. I'm looking forward to rereading the death series on its own, kind of thing. Next up is Making Money. This is another Industrial Revolution series, but it's the first one that follows Moist von Lipbeck. No, sorry, it's the second one that follows Moist von Lipbeck. I'm sorry. Making Money, but this is yeah, a Moist von Lipbeck book, and it is a lot of fun. 4.5 stars for me. Coming on number 17 is A Hatful of Sky by Terry Pratchett. Also another very fun Tiffany Aching book. I think it's the second Tiffany Aching book, and enjoyable. Coming in as number 15 is Equal Rights. This is the first Witches book, and it's the first book that really sold me on Terry Pratchett. It is the third book set in the Discworld, and this is when I finally saw what Terry Pratchett could do. This is a little bit like a middle grade, but still is not categorized as a middle grade, but it has a middle grade feel to it because we're following a protagonist who is very young, and we're also introduced to Granny Weatherwax in this one. And there's a lot of talk about equality and stuff, and it was done really well. Coming in as number 14 is Monstrous Regiment. This is another Industrial Revolution series, and this is sort of following a war between, I forgot who the war was between, but we follow Polly Perks, who is a boy in a hurry. And yeah, this one definitely is Terry Pratchett talking about representation in a really interesting way. And we have this Polly Perks who just wants to be part of the regiment, but she's not allowed to for some reason. People think that she's not allowed to because she's a woman, but she sees herself as a man and she wants to become part of this. Then we have number 13, which is Lords and Ladies, another witches book. This is, I think, the one where Magrat is married. I think Magrat is married, but otherwise she's getting married in this one. Now we're getting into my 5-star reads, so it's difficult here, yeah. Coming as number 12 is Racing Steam by Terry Pratchett. This is the last and final industrial revolution. It's the last one following Moist von Lipwig. Very enjoyable. Sort of about trains and stuff. Coming in as number 11 is Shepherd's Crown by Terry Pratchett. This is the last and final Discworld book. I'm really surprised it's so high up on the ranks, but it is one of my favorite. It is 5-star read. It's my favorite Tiffany Aching book, and it was a good end to the series, I think. Coming in as number 11 is Going Postal by Terry Pratchett. This is the first one that follows Moist von Lipwig. This is another industrial revolution. It sort of follows this new post office, and Moist von Lipwig becomes like a manager in that. Coming in as number 9 is Men at Arms by Terry Pratchett. This is the second City Watch book, and very much fun. Coming in as number 8 is Carpe Jugulum by Terry Pratchett. This is like my second favorite witches book. There's not a lot of books left, so you might be able to guess what I have left, but yeah, love this one. It was fun vampire thing happening in this world. Coming in as number 7 is Guards by Terry Pratchett, the first ever City Watch book, and it's the 8th book in the Discworld. Love this one. It was so much fun. It was such a good introduction to the City Watch people. Coming in as number 6 is Maud, and this is the first Death book. I love the Death sub-series. It's my favorite, and Maud is definitely a great one. It's also another one of that sort of middle grade like, and I really enjoyed it. Coming in as number 5 is Masquerade. This is my favorite witches book. I love this one so much. This is a Phantom of the Opera retelling kind of thing, but I don't know this one, so for me it was just so much fun reading this one. Coming in as number 4 is Night Watch by Terry Pratchett, one of my favorite City Watch books. This really just is epic, and it talks about so many themes that are very relevant today, and I was very surprised about that. Coming in as number 3 is Thud, another City Watch book, and my favorite in the bunch. I gave this one, like, it's just so good. It has some really epic moments with Sam, and I just love this one. Okay, second favorite book. I really had a hard time figuring out what was my favorite, but Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. I love this one. I love Hogfather. It's a great Christmas book. I cannot wait to reread this one. Yeah, it was so much fun, and everything just was amazing. And coming in as number 1, if you paid attention, is Reaper Man, the 11th book. I just love this one so much. I cannot express my why. And I debated whether Hogfather or this one was my favorite, but this ultimately is my favorite. I think it's just so good. And yeah, so this is my ranking of the Discworld book. It was really difficult actually ranking them down. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Discworld book is, because I definitely know that we probably all have different opinions. Is there anyone you're completely disagreeing with that you think that should have been higher or lower, and why? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm so looking forward to rereading a lot of these books, because there's some I've read so long ago that I can hardly remember them. Also because there are so many, so it sort of becomes difficult to distinguish between the books. But I really did enjoy all of them in their own way, and so I cannot wait to get reading with them again. I think I'm going to start with the Death sub-series, or maybe some of the standalones, to sort of reacquaint myself with them, those that has been read for so long ago. And then maybe I'll dive into the Witches books again, and the City Watch books. I definitely want to read them again. So yeah, anyway, this is everything I had for you today. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Goodbye.